SCORE is going to do a short presentation for you all. I want to welcome you to our January Young Professional Social. I'm Karen Brown with the Outer Banks Chamber. Also want to thank SCORE and Kelly's for providing your food and your beverage and your entertainment for this evening. I want to recognize a few people. First, David Joyner in the front. David's on our board of directors. David is our vice chair for the training and development division of the chamber, which includes the young professionals. So he's your guy. If you have suggestions or comments, talk to David. We also have a couple other board members here. I have Char Lombos is here. I think he's still here. With Captain George's. He's over there. He's on our board, and Mike Fulton is here as well from our board. And also Jackie Chung is here with Southern Insurance, and she's on our board as well. I don't think I missed anybody. I want to introduce the chamber staff. We have a couple new staff members with us. We have Katie Roth with us at the front table. Katie's our intern. She's here for a few months with us, so we're happy to have her on board. We have our new program manager, Jennifer Schwarzenberg, and Jennifer is taking over the Young Professionals program, so you'll see a lot more of her as well. The rest of the staff is here. Where's Andy? What's their name? Andy Brady Daniels, our Vice President of Communication and Events. Sarah Keener, our Membership Director, is hanging at the bar. Yeah! Along with Cindy Daniels, our Director of Finance and Operations. So we're happy to have all the staff members here today. Just want to give you a couple updates. The classroom safety bucket that you all took on a few months ago is just about complete, and we'll be delivering those buckets on February the 11th. You'll get some additional information on that going forward. I do want to mention there's some flyers at the front table and also on a table across the bar on some of the upcoming events and programs the Chamber has going on. We have a prospect reception coming up on February the 17th at Captain George's. If you're not a member of the Chamber or you know somebody who's not a member and should be, bring them to that prospect reception at 5:30 at Captain George's on the 17th. We'll have a lot of fun that night too, and there'll be some incentives to join. On March the 14th, we have our OBX Success Job and Career Fair. That's going to be held at the Ramada Plaza. We're still looking for vendors for that. If you're looking to hire for this summer or any positions year-round, you might want to be part of that. You can talk to Angie about that event. And we also have our Business Expo coming up on March the 31st at Pirates Cove Pavilion. If you're in business and you want to get your name out there and your product and services in front of the community and the Chamber membership, I would suggest you be part of that event. And those flyers are up there as well, and you can talk to Sarah, Jen, or Angie about that event. With that, I'm going to turn it over to John Rohr, who's going to talk to you a little bit about SCORE.
Thank you, Karen. And I'd like to say thanks to Mike for hosting us here tonight. To Mike Kelly, you're around somewhere. Anyway, it's really great to see such a big turnout. Oftentimes we have events like this, and over in my store, and I invite folks my age, and half of them can't see after dark, and the others can't hear the crowd, so nobody comes. So.
What'd you say?
Anyway, I'm the chairman of the local chapter of SCORE, at least for the time being. And what I wanted to do is give you kind of a brief overview, tell you what SCORE is all about, because I have dual purpose here. One is to tell you what it is, so if you know somebody that can benefit from what we do, that would be great. And possibly maybe interest you in helping us help people that are in this area that want to start businesses or make their businesses more successful. Now, all of you, when you came in, should have gotten a little card that has 20 questions on it. Did everybody get one? Because there's going to be a quiz when I finish, and that's the quiz. I will tell you some of the answers. Some of the answers you will have to ask the other SCORE representatives here about. Now, there are two that are my contemporaries here, over at the table over there. Timothy, raise your hand, Tim. And Ron Erkenstraight stood for Service Corps of Retired Executives. Now, that's no longer the case because most of the counselors are really not retired. Many of them have retired from their primary job, but they're doing other jobs. And many of them are actually working actively their primary responsibility still. Now, we have some new members of SCORE here, so I'd like to introduce Jenny Ash, who's with Max Radio. and Taylor Tyler, who owns Mitchell Digital Marketing, and I'm trying to snag Jackie Chun to help me on a project too, so I'm getting her involved in it. So what you'll see here is, in fact, it is not a core of retired executives anymore. It's actually people who have an interest in the economic development in their area, helping others start small businesses and make those businesses successful. Now, why is that important? Anybody have any idea how many small businesses are in North Carolina? It's about 805,000. And of those 800+ thousand small businesses, over 80% of them, 650,000, have no employees. You wonder, how does that happen? Well, what that means is that's one guy or a gal or a husband and wife or some group of people working together, running a little business, but they're treating themselves as if they were sole proprietors. Whatever they make is what they get paid. They don't declare wages, they don't pay taxes on it. They're not employees for all intents and purposes. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what the scope of small businesses are. In fact, in this area, there are not really many large employers at all. The only ones are governmental entities. You know what the largest employers are on all of the Outer Banks, Currituck and Dare County budget? It's the county. The school board is the biggest part of that, but the county is after that. The largest private employer in both counties is, guess what? Anybody know? Well, you go. School board, county, Food Lion. And then in the top 5, there's always going to be a real estate company. Down here is Village, over in Currituck it's Twitter. And rounding out the top 5, usually it's the Department of Transportation in the area. So the big employers here really aren't companies as you think of them at all, they're governmental entities. And of all of the top 25 in this area, 10 of them are real estate companies because the industry here, of course, is tourism, hospitality industry. So if people want to make a living doing something, they have very few choices. Generally, they are to go to work for the government. If you can do that, I understand you're supposed to be related to somebody to get one of those jobs. Or else you go to work for Food Lion, and that's not really a career path for a lot of people. So you start a small business. And what do you do? How do you make it successful? What do you do to register a business? How do you do the taxes, the accounting, all those things? Well, those are questions the SCORE can help you with. Our SCORE counselors include attorneys, CPAs, real estate people, business managers that have retired, all walks of past business experience. But the problem we face down here now is virtually all of the people coming to us are entrepreneurs, people starting new businesses. And what do they need to know? It's not really, honestly, how to do a business plan. It's what can I do to make a living? How can I market that? You know, how do I charge for it? And how can I get started? And guess what the #1 question people ask us is? Where can I get the money? Yeah. Well, there again, start a business and make it difficult. Well, the SCORE chapter here comprises about 20 people, 12, 15 of which actively counsel each month, because we have sessions every Tuesday from 11 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon over at the chamber office. Nationally, SCORE has a huge presence. We have about 10,000 volunteers, and they actually service more than 1 million man-hours a year, helping typically about 38,000 to 40,000 new businesses get started, creating about 70,000 to 80,000 new jobs every year, and usually helping somewhere around 40,000 to 45,000 businesses improve their operation. But each of the volunteers here, the only thing we ask them to do is come to a monthly meeting, keep up with what's going on, and volunteer for 1 session a month, maybe 3 hours, to talk to small business owners or would-be small business owners and help them with what background you have. Generally what we're trying to do is find out what their needs are and then match them up with somebody that can help. Now, as I said, what I wanted to do first was to let you know what we did. So if you know somebody that is thinking about starting a small business or has one and needs some help, send them to see us. I mean, they don't have to just talk to us from 11 to 2 at the chamber. It's just we're always there if they want to stop by. They can call us at the chamber office and actually make an appointment. We'll work with them online, talk to them on the phone, whatever they need to do. Or if you have an inclination and a skill in marketing for real estate or legal or accounting or tax or any of the things that would be skills relevant to a small business, then we would really appreciate if you would consider maybe coming by to one of our meetings the first Tuesday of every month. About 2:30 we start, and we go through what we're working on, how can we help people, listen to new ideas, and we actually have some pretty big projects underway. One of the things that I'm working on now, I'm sure many of you have seen a program on television called Shark Tank. To me that looks like kind of fun, although I don't have $1 gazillion like Mark Cuban that I can help people out with. But we're in the process of applying for a grant from one of the state agencies for a revolving loan fund to be able to make some capital investment in small business here locally. And I need help with a board that has the relevant skills to assess the viability of new businesses and help us decide how we might be able to help somebody starting a business become successful if we provide them the funding to do it, and then letting our scores mentor and work with them through the process. And I think that would be a exciting project if we could do it. The one that I'm using as a model is town of Carver over near Raleigh. Has operated one for a number of years, but down here we have 8 governmental subdivisions we're working with. Currituck County, Dare County, and 6 towns. There's no way in heck we'd ever get them all talking to each other. And if you've had any experience with government, then you'll know what I'm talking about. So, now, the list of questions we run down here, I've covered some of them, and I'm willing to answer a few questions indirectly if we have some related to school, but I'm not going to answer any of these. So what you've got to do to get the rest of the answers is actually go talk to Tim and Ron and Taylor or Jenny, wherever she went, or even me. And some of the chamber people will probably help you too. Because the chamber has been our primary supporter ever since we've been in operation here. And SCORE nationally started in 1964. We have a counselor in our group here who is 96 years old and has been a school counselor for 33 years. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but he was a charming gentleman and you really enjoyed talking to him. So, any questions? That's basically what SCORE is about. You know, we would really like you to help us. If you're willing to do that, volunteer some time. And if you know somebody that needs some help with business, send them to us. Questions? You know, well, we just started drinking, don't you?